All right, everybody. 2024 election results in the swing state of Arizona. It was a very important swing state. 11 electoral votes up for grabs. It was very consequential. Trump really needed it to be able to secure his presidency. Kamala didn't need it as much, but Trump definitely did, and it was trending in that direction. That Trump would end up winning this state. Even on 538, or not 530, at 270 to win. When you would go in there to check on the day of the election, it was kind of Arizona was highlighted like a little bit pink to show that it was sort of tilting away from being a swing state and sort of towards a safe Republican state. And that's not super out of the ordinary. As if we go here to the chart, looking at Arizona, of course, the last 10 elections, it has went Democrat only twice, and by super small margins. And conversely, Republicans, 21% margin, 6%, 10%, 8.5, 9, 3.5, 5.5. In fact, out of the 7 swing states, it was Trump's biggest victory margin. I mean, by far. The next closest was North Carolina and Nevada at only 3%. It was almost double that. And that's why I'm even led to believe that this really won't be a swing state that's up for grabs in the 2028 election, just the way it's kind of trending. But I think it's interesting to talk about that trend and what maybe led to that. A lot of the news outlets I listen to, and my first kind of hypothesis or thoughts to why Trump did so well in Arizona in this election. And again, to give you another grasp, 6 point win nearly in Arizona. That was it was tighter or closer in New Hampshire, which is a traditionally Democratic state, only about a 4 point win for Kamala, and then Minnesota, which has been about as reliable as it can get for Democrats. It's its longest consecutive winning state. It's been about 40, 50 years since a Democrat has lost it. Was even closer than Arizona as well, at only a little over 4%. Um, but I was looking at it and I thought it was the shift in Hispanic voters had started to move to the right. And we looked at Nevada and we saw the same thing where in Nevada the Hispanic population had trended towards the right. And so I wanted to see if that was true with Arizona. Um, I was pretty surprised by what I found here. So if I look at Nevada first off, and we did this in a previous video, so please go check that out. Hispanic and Latino, and again, exit polls, of course, there was over a million people that voted in Nevada, a couple million people that voted in Arizona. These exit polls aren't gospel, they're not 100% correct, but they give us a pretty good idea. Hispanic slash Latino, 49% went to Trump or Republican, only 47% for Kamala Harris. So that hypothesis holds up, right? Well, let's check Arizona by contrast. Whoa, pretty big shift here. And what's interesting as well is Arizona is actually more Hispanic than Nevada. I didn't know that. A little like a couple percent higher Hispanic rates, about in the 30s. Nevada's in the high 20s. So you have a higher rate of Hispanics. I mean, as you can see here, 27% of the respondents were Hispanic. In the Arizona exit poll, only 18% in Hispanic. So you have a higher rate of Hispanics, and you have such a higher rate going Democrat. I mean, you look at Nevada, it's 47%, Arizona 54%, a difference of 7%. That's huge. So that kind of disproves this initial hypothesis of, oh, it was the Hispanic vote, oh, it was the Latino vote that was trending right, and that's the reason that Trump won this great state of Arizona that you really need as a Republican to kind of solidify your path, even have a chance. Now, let's go back. Let's go back in time a little bit. Let's look at 2020. Biden with a super narrow win in 2020, and let's see some of the bi-county results here. It's a little bit split. It's a little bit split, but more Republican in terms of counties. One of the big counties you're always going to hear about in elections. I remember in 2020 there was an article that said like here's the 5 to 8 counties that could decide the election. Maricopa County, yeah, it's a huge county. As you can see, the biggest by far in Arizona, and Biden got 50% of that vote. It's talked about as a diverse county, something that could shift the elections. I wonder how much that's true. Let's go ahead and look at 2024, and let's see the by county results with Maricopa. And wow, it probably did decide the election. Okay, 51% to Trump. Let's go back to 2020, guys. Maricopa County, 48%, a 3% shift towards Trump. That's astronomical when you're talking about 980,000 votes out of the total of 3.4 million. I mean, that's such a huge percentage of it. Trump wins Maricopa County. So right there, we have a verdict. Um, we have the biggest county flipping by a couple of percent points for Donald Trump. He's getting, I misspoke, 1 million votes here. About a third of the votes that he got, or that were up for grabs in the state, went to Trump just from Maricopa County. Now, again, it wasn't a huge shock with the trends you're seeing in Arizona. Um, our last kind of voter registration numbers in October and early November did show that Republicans were outnumbering Dems by about 300,000, and people listed in like the other or independent categories were even outnumbering the Democrats by over 200,000 votes. Um, and there was even a net add since the summer of about 37,000 registered Republicans versus Democrats. So you could kind of see a trend in voter registration that, hey, this county, Maricopa County, and this state might flip from its 2020 results. But it's a pretty big change to go from a point, whatever that was, 0.3 victory for Biden to almost a 6-point victory for Trump. But again, the voter registration numbers were backing that. Now, it's not fair to say though that it was the Hispanic vote per se. On the other hand, in Arizona, I mean, as we can see, there's more Hispanics there than in Nevada, and 54% of them uh, went towards the Democrat, went towards Kamala Harris. So I don't know if it's fair to say that this state in upcoming elections will go left because of the Hispanic vote there is going left, or this state will go right because the Hispanic vote's going right. It just seems like the state as a whole is trending right. And you saw Carrie Lake lose her Senate race to Ruben Gallego by 2 points. That was a Democrat winning. So Trump didn't carry any weight in that race. They still went Democrat. And I think that shows that the state with the Hispanic population can still go left. It does have that ability. Along with Maricopa County. So jot that down as your first item to say. That's the reason, and this is such an important county. Drill that into your head. We'll be looking at that in 2026 and 2028 races. Just how important that county was to decide in this election. So let's go ahead and look at another metric I want to show you guys if I can find it here. I'm trying to find the independence. I will just Control F. There we go. Okay. No matter how you voted today, do you usually think of yourself as a Democrat, Republican, or an independent? This is huge. This is huge. So Maricopa County, write it down. Maricopa County will be a county that we'll be talking about. It will be in those articles, 5 to 6 counties that decide elections. But this right here was a huge, huge chunk of this. So 38% of people, the majority, the majority, I mean 10% more than Democrat, identified 53% of them went to the right. They went Republican. That they're kind of the unsung heroes of elections. The independents are. And they may have just decided the election in Arizona. It might not have been the Hispanic vote. It might not have even been Maricopa County per se. It might have just been the independents. And if we look at exit polls of the whole country, so now we're going to the whole nation, those who identified as independent or something else, again, smaller majority, a little less than, so it was 38% in Arizona. In the whole of the nation, that was only 34%. Look at this difference. 49% of independents went to the left as a nation, whereas in Arizona, we see just 44% of them. It's a 5-point difference, and then a 7-point on the other side, a Republican, where those Republicans or those independents in Arizona were so much more likely to vote Republican. So, kind of digging into all this, I think there's a couple things we can take from this. It wasn't the Hispanics per se, the Hispanic vote moving right, although generally it's trended right in the rest of the nation, and we continue to look at that in upcoming videos. But I think more so in Arizona, the reason Donald Trump won was you had those great registration numbers for the Republicans, which included 37,000 more than Democrats registered from the summer to about November. You had a 300,000 registered vote lead, just of registered voters in Arizona in terms of Republicans. You had Maricopa County flipping by a couple of points. in this 2024 election, and you had, of course, the independent vote. I mean, really coming out strong. 49% Democrat nationally. In Arizona, only 44%. That's a huge chunk. We can go back to this. The economy looked like the biggest issue here. 39%. I've seen states with higher percentages. I believe Nevada's was a little bit higher. This was the what the voters said they cared about the most. And as you can see, climate, abortion, healthcare, very important issues, but sort of issues that the left polls better on in terms of having a successful plan. And then economy and immigration. That's what Trump was associated with in polls as doing better than Kamala Harris. And it showed in Arizona that the majority of the people cared about this stuff more and they voted for it. We saw in 2022, abortion was a huge deal. They just reversed Roe v. Wade, and people came out and let it be known there was supposed to be a red wave, and it kind of didn't happen. And I think that was people voting because of abortion. I think as time went on, as inflation got worse, people started saying, "Hey, I care about the economy more." And the polls showed, the data showed they trusted Trump more on that. Um, and that is probably a reason I would say, looking at this, trying to extrapolate, economy and immigration must have mattered a lot to those independents, and in that way they ended up going for Trump. I think we can learn a lot from Arizona, see if it has trends. It was a little bit different than Nevada. That Hispanic vote, I think, won it for Trump in Nevada, but in Arizona, I think it was Maricopa County and that independent vote. Guys, if you like videos like this, please like, please subscribe, please comment anything positive or negative. I don't mind. Want to hear you guys' thoughts. Want to hear if you guys think I'm wrong or anything. We're gonna keep doing this series where we're gonna delve into 7 swing states. We have 5 more to discuss about why Trump won, and then we'll have some more upcoming videos after that. Thank you guys all so much for watching, and have a good one.